guys, today I'm going to go over some Linux commands specifically to determine performance of your system. So if you're determining memory utilization, CPU utilization, disk I/O, what kind of process is running, if the machine is swapping. So you kind of determine if your machine's running slow and exactly determine what aspect of your machine is causing the sluggishness. So just keep watching. And these are some tools I commonly use all the time, and they're used pretty much standard in industry, a lot of these, just for basic troubleshooting of your system at home. It could be useful at home on normal desktops or laptops or in a server environment, even high performance computing environment to use these commands. Any sort of Linux distribution, these commands are pretty much standard on. So just keep watching and I'll show you the top commands I like to use and how you can use them easily where you work or at home. The first thing you want to do is open up a terminal window. So on whatever distribution your Linux you're on, go ahead and open up that terminal window and bring up the command prompt. The first command we're going to look at is uptime. It gives you a single line of information, including the amount of time your system has been up, the number of users that are logged in, and the average system load. So that's the system load for 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 15 minutes. The next command is W. It provides you slightly more information, including the users that are currently logged in. It lists all the users and what they're currently running. The next command we're going to take a look at is top. This is my favorite command actually because it's dynamically updating as I watch it. So if you notice, the numbers are changing, the load is changing, the memory usage and the swapping is all changing dynamically. If you take a look at there's the system load that we saw with W and uptime. So a general rule of thumb is the system load should be less than the number of CPU cores on your system. That's a general rule of thumb. So if you have 1 CPU, that load should be under 1. If you have 5 CPUs, that load should be under 5. Otherwise, it is waiting in a queue. Some of the other information we take a look at is memory usage. How much is free? How much is used? Swapping is a big one. If your machine is swapping a lot, that means you're running out of memory. So you're going to see a lot of swapping going on here. In addition to that, you get to see all the user activity, which is great. So I could see what the users are running, how much memory they're using, either virtual or physical memory, how much CPU utilization they're running, how long the process have been running, and what they're running. So you can see the command. So all this information is very valuable when troubleshooting a machine. Specifically, I could take a look at the CPU percentage that's being used, the memory, the swapping, and the average system load for the last few minutes. Top is on most machines. Now I'm going to go over SAR. It stands for System Allocated Resources. Now this is a great tool for gathering information. It has a number of arguments, so you could be from specific CPUs to specific disks to virtual memory. So there's a number of arguments. It's a very quick install. So once you run it, the very basic information, a very basic command is SAR 110. That first number is how often. So every second for the next 10 seconds, run SAR, and it prints out CPU information as you see here. So you can see such information as the percentage of the CPU being used by the user, the system, waiting on I/O, so it's waiting for disk space, you might see some swapping, and how much of your CPU is idle. So you collect this information. You could also spread out the time. It doesn't have to be every second. You could do it once an hour, once every 20 minutes. So you could use the -B option with 1 and 10, and it shows you the block utilization. So how much of it's reading versus writing, and you could spread out the time again. It doesn't have to be every second. The -U will show you disk utilization, CPU utilization. So you can see the same thing as if there was no arguments. It shows the user, the system, the I/O, waiting time, and the idle. If you go look at man SAR, it gives you a number of options. So SAR actually has tons of options. So I'm using -D to show disk. So you can kind of see the disk it's reading from and more information. You really recommend taking a look at man SAR. You could do anything from watching your networking to IRQ calls. So there's a lot of information there. So vmstat gives you a lot of information about your virtual memory usage. It also gives you a lot of CPU information, swap and I/O. So it shows you how many are running that are there. It shows you your swaps, your free memory. It also gives you how much your system is using and your CPU utilization, including user and system and idle and wait time at the end there. So go ahead and look at man vmware stat because there's a lot of information it can provide you. The next command I like to use is ps-ef.
This gives you every single process running, and it gives you a long view of it. So it gives you a lot of details: who's running it, the process, how long it's been running, and what's the exact command running. So if you feel like your machine's running slowly, you could see all the processes running. If your machine has been compromised, someone who might have hacked into your machine will leave processes running. You could take a look at them there. So you go ahead and filter through all the commands and see what commands might look suspicious. iostat gives you all the information you need about the input and output statistics of various devices on your machine, anything from your disk to your CPU to your networking. So it gives you an overview of how long it takes for I/O to be processed by a certain device. Another command is netstat. It prints out all the networking information. A replacement command for this is SS. That gives you probably a little bit easier to read information, but netstat is a legacy command that is still commonly used. So it prints out the stream, the connection, the path, and the path to the device, the socket. Directory slash proc has a lot of information that could be used for determining system performance. Kind of see what kind of hardware you have. You could get CPU information, memory information, virtual memory, or specific process information. So CPU info in slash proc has all the CPU information you could use. So if you take a look here, I have one i7 processor.
Thanks for watching. I hope these commands were helpful for your environment. If you have any questions or comments, always leave them below. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Subscribe to support, guys. Thanks.